Welcome, my fellow cosmic travelers, especially the radiant, ever-curious Sagittarius souls, both new and seasoned, tuning into Zodiac Talks Tarot. You didn't stumble here by accident. The stars nudged you, whispered in your dreams, maybe even gave you a good ol' sag-style kick in the pants to get you here. And I'm glad you listened. Now, let's talk about what's really happening on June 10th. Because this isn't just some fluffy retrograde season nonsense or another round of full moon manifestation rituals. No, this one hits different. Mars Trine Chiron is a cosmic event that reaches deep into the fire sign psyche, especially yours, Sagittarius, and pulls something raw, wild, and deeply healing to the surface. Let's set the scene. Mars, planet of action, is flexing in Leo, fiery, bold, dramatic. Chiron, the wounded healer, is stationed in Aries, another fire sign, quietly holding space for the parts of ourselves we usually outrun. But not this time. These two aren't clashing. They're flowing. They're harmonizing in a trine, creating a portal not just for healing, but for emotional rebirth. If you've been feeling pressure in your chest, sudden waves of nostalgia, or like your usual high-energy bounce has taken a philosophical detour into what does it all mean, land yet, that's it. That's the portal opening. Your heart's being stretched wide open, not broken. As someone who's been studying the stars longer than most Sagittarians have committed to a single zip code, I can tell you this Mars Chiron moment is one of those rare alignments that doesn't just soften your emotional wounds, it transforms them. For those of you who resonate with the term chosen ones, this is especially potent. This isn't patchwork healing. This is the soul recalibrating. You're not just learning to forgive the past, you're relearning to aim your arrow higher, straighter, and with more purpose than ever before. And let's be real, if anyone can turn pain into punchlines, wisdom, and a killer life philosophy, it's Sagittarius. Alright Sagittarius, let's break this cosmic moment down not in vague metaphors, but in fire sign truth bombs, the way you like it. As someone who's studied astrology for decades and probably meditated through more Mercury retrogrades than most people have had houseplants, I can tell you this, the current Mars Trine Chiron transit is no ordinary blip on your astrological radar. It's a rare cosmic cocktail, shaken, not stirred, designed to stir your soul and shake loose the emotional lint that's been building up in the corners of your heart. Now, Mars is currently tearing it up in Leo, which means we're dealing with bold, dramatic, lion-hearted energy. Think Broadway star energy but with boxing gloves and a mission. Mars in Leo doesn't tiptoe into healing. It struts in with glitter, a megaphone, and says, "We're fixing this, and we're doing it loud." Chiron, meanwhile, is stationed in Aries, your fellow fire sign and cosmic cousin in chaos. Aries energy is raw. It's the wounded warrior archetype, the part of us that screams, "Who even am I anymore?" after a minor inconvenience or, more seriously, a lifetime of emotional scarring we've tried to outrun. But here's where it gets interesting. These two aren't butting heads, they're holding hands across the zodiac wheel. This trine isn't about conflict. It's about collaboration. Like two fire signs clinking glasses across the bonfire of your past and saying, "You ready to transmute pain into power? Let's ride." This isn't healing through quiet reflection and spa days. This is healing on a Harley at full speed, with a playlist that slaps and a heart that's ready to scream "I'm alive" from the rooftops. Emotional alchemy, Sagittarius style. And then there's that unexpected part. Your heart starts remembering things your mind conveniently filed under "Let's never talk about that again." Suddenly, you're thinking about that one person you ghosted, because freedom, or that epic adventure you bailed on because commitment gave you hives. But this time, those memories don't come back to haunt. They come back to heal. This is where the Buddhist wisdom kicks in, the wound is where the light enters. You're not revisiting these memories to suffer. You're revisiting them to retrieve pieces of yourself you left behind when the pain was too much to carry. So here's my advice from one lifelong cosmic observer to a Sagittarius who's probably planning their next great escape: don't run. Not this time. You learn by doing. And this time, the doing is looking back with clarity instead of shame. Your past isn't a prison, it's a portal. And guess what? You've already got the key. Let's talk about that weird pressure in your chest right now. No, you're not having a heart attack, and yes, I say that with the loving authority of someone who's spent more time studying cosmic patterns than most people spend looking for their lost AirPods. That tightness, that subtle thump 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 that doesn't quite feel like anxiety but also isn't exactly peace? That's Mars and Chiron teaming up in your energy field like celestial yoga instructors, putting your emotional body through a vinyasa flow it didn't ask for but desperately needs. Your heart isn't malfunctioning, it's expanding. It's doing emotional Pilates in your ribcage, stretching your capacity to love, to feel, and let's be honest, to finally deal with some of that Sagittarian "I'm fine, I'll just book a flight and forget this ever happened" avoidance. Now here's the wild part: it's not fear. It's anticipation. The emotional equivalent of standing at the edge of a spiritual bungee jump, where your soul is ready to leap but your ego is holding onto the railing muttering, "You sure about this, boss?" Place your hand on your chest. Breathe. No mantra needed, no incense, no dramatic chants. Just be present. As Buddha wisely said, the heart is not just an organ, it is a gate. And right now, that gate is creaking open. But hold up, it gets even more interesting. Suddenly, you're hit with the urge to text your ex, or reconnect with that one friend you ghosted in 2016 because they asked you to commit to a brunch date more than a week in advance. Let me be crystal clear. This is not the universe asking you to rekindle old flames or reopen old wounds. Although hey, if you do decide to shoot your shot, at least check their Instagram first to make sure they're still single and not deeply into raising alpacas in Oregon. No judgment. Sagittarius is always game for an adventure. But seriously, what's happening here is your soul circling back, not to relieve the past, but to resolve it. These people, those relationships, that messy chapter you scribbled over with denial, they're not random. They were stepping stones in your emotional evolution. They were the prelude, not the main plot. Closure isn't about drama or final words, it's about reclaiming the energy you left behind. And while your brain might be spinning trying to rationalize all this, your body already knows. Maybe you felt a sudden warmth in your chest, tingling in your fingertips, or a mysterious desire to stretch, cry, or scream into a pillow, or the void. No rules. That's somatic healing, your nervous system doing spring cleaning while your higher self watches with pride. Sagittarius, you live in your head 90% of the time, but your body? It's part of your team. Don't ignore its messages. When your arms buzz or your shoulders release tension, that's not random. That's your soul whispering, "We're letting go now." So next time your chest flutters or your knees get wobbly thinking about someone from the past, don't panic. Smile, breathe, and let the gate swing wide. Because what's coming next? It's not heartbreak. It's breakthrough. Let's have an honest Sagittarius-style heart-to-heart yes, the kind where we drop some spiritual truth bombs and maybe laugh through a little pain. Because if we were being real, Sagittarians have a superpower when it comes to bouncing back from heartbreak. You'll go through a breakup on a Monday and be halfway to Machu Picchu by Friday, journaling about freedom and higher meaning while sipping questionable coffee from a mountaintop cafe. But here's the catch: just because you move fast doesn't mean you've fully unpacked what you carried away from that emotional fallout. Now, with Mars trining Chiron, the universe isn't just handing you a tissue, it's handing you a scroll of emotional wisdom. And somewhere on that cosmic parchment is the line you didn't realize you needed. That ending wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The very pain you thought was derailing your story was actually shaping your destiny. It's like spiritual compost. Yeah, it smelled awful in the moment, but look what's growing from it now. That heartbreak? It didn't break you, it broke open the parts of you that were too tightly sealed to evolve. And let's not ignore what's been going on in your chest lately, either. All that pressure? That deep, unshakable feeling like something big is brewing beneath your ribs? That's your heart chakra doing serious cosmic weightlifting. Think of it like emotional CrossFit, except instead of six-pack abs, you're building spiritual resilience. This isn't the kind of healing you get from a bubble bath and a scented candle, though. Hey, those don't hurt. This is the heavy-duty, soul-sculpting kind of healing that turns carbon into diamond. Tomorrow, or maybe even next week when you least expect it, you'll look back on this period and realize it wasn't the end of love. It was the beginning of a deeper, wilder, more awakened kind of love. One that starts from within and ripples outward. One that doesn't shrink or chase but expands. And that, dear Sagittarius, is the kind of love your wild, wise, truth-seeking soul was born to give and receive. Alright Sagittarius, lean in, because what I'm about to tell you might just validate the wild gut feelings you've been having lately. You're ruled by Jupiter, the big boss of expansion, higher knowledge, and let's book a flight and figure out the meaning of life in another country energy. So when a powerful Mars Chiron trine hits your chart, it doesn't just tweak your emotions, it overhauls your entire social algorithm. Think of it like a cosmic filter, but instead of giving you flawless skin and sparkly eyes, it filters out people who dim your fire and brings in those who actually see you, the real you, not the curated, I'm fine, everything's an adventure version you often project. This is the moment when the chosen ones among you, yes, those on a higher path, those who feel like they've never quite fit into the ordinary crowd, begin attracting their soul tribe. And no, this isn't just some new age fluff. It's actual energetic alignment. You'll start to feel a magnetic pull toward people who don't just laugh at your jokes but understand the story behind your sarcasm. People who don't just listen when you talk, but hear the things you don't say. These connections? They're going to feel different. More peaceful. Less performative. Less I guess I should hang out with them, and more where have you been all my life. But before you run full speed into every new connection like a Sagittarius at a midnight sale on plane tickets, let's talk about what's really getting triggered underneath. This Mars Chiron energy is dragging some of your core wounds into the spotlight, yes, even the ones you thought you'd left somewhere on that backpacking trip through emotional denial. Questions like, am I really enough, or will anyone ever love me if I stop moving, might start bubbling up. Don't panic. Don't judge. Just witness. That's where healing starts, not with fixing, but with finally seeing. And here's where it gets juicy, your intuition is leveling up. That famous Sagittarius gut instinct? It's no longer just a vague vibe or a quirky superpower, it's becoming razor-sharp emotional intelligence. You'll just know who's aligned and who's projecting their chaos onto you like it's your responsibility to fix. Spoiler alert, it's not. You weren't born to be someone's emotional GPS. You were born to seek truth and shine light. So trust your weird feelings. The ones you can't quite explain. The moments when you just know something's off or beautifully, totally right. Those gut hits are more accurate than any spreadsheet, flowchart, or overanalyzed pros and cons list. You're not just becoming more intuitive, you're becoming more you. Alright, Sagittarius, let's talk real strategy. Because while this Mars Chiron trine is undeniably cosmic and transformational, even the most enlightened soul needs a practical game plan to ride the wave without getting knocked over. And yes, I know you're a fire sign. Silence makes you itchy, stillness feels like punishment, and emotional processing sounds like something better done in transit between airports. But hear me out, your soul is asking for a little structure so your wild heart can truly heal and thrive. First off, alone time. I get it, silence can feel like a void, and you'd rather fill it with podcasts, playlists, or an impromptu hike through unfamiliar terrain. But this is sacred stillness. Your inner compass, the one that's been a bit off from all the noise, needs recalibration. Just 30 minutes a day of quiet can bring you back into alignment with your truth. Second, move your body. Sagittarius energy is kinetic. If your body isn't moving, your mind starts spinning, and not always in the fun, visionary way. So dance, stretch, do interpretive yoga on your living room floor, whatever gets your fire flowing. Bonus points if you imagine your spirit guides watching and slow clapping from another dimension. Third, journal. You've got wisdom, humor, and emotional downloads trying to make their way into your conscious mind. Writing them down helps turn raw insights into lasting transformation. Think of your journal as the campfire where your inner philosopher and wounded healer sit down to talk things out. Fourth, radical honesty. And I do mean radical. Tell the truth, even the messy, awkward, Sagittarius kind of truth that blurts out before you think. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. Vulnerability is the passport to deeper healing. Next up, fire ritual. This one's in your element. Light a candle, write down the old pain or patterns you're done carrying, and safely burn that sucker. Watch it turn to ash and know you just did cosmic house cleaning on a soul level. Then, speak your truth, even if your voice shakes like a baby deer on roller skates. Your voice is your power, Sag. Use it with intention. Someone out there needs to hear what you've been holding back. Seventh, connect with fire. It's not just a metaphor. Sunlight, candlelight, a campfire with good company, all of it charges your energy field like a spiritual battery. Fire heals you because it is you. And finally, practice compassion. This healing isn't just for you, it's for everyone your energy touches. The more you soften into love, the more you become a lighthouse for others who are still stumbling through the storm. Now, let's talk about what happens after this transit. Just because June 10th passes doesn't mean the energy fades. It lingers, settles in your bones, and begins reshaping your responses from the inside out. By the full moon on June 11th, you'll notice something subtle but powerful: you're reacting differently. More grace. Less reactivity. Fewer side-eye moments, more heart-centered choices. That, my friend, is what I call the Sagittarius glow-up. Old triggers, new responses. You're not just surviving, you're re-evolving. So here's my final thought, not as your astrologer, but as a fellow seeker on this big, beautiful mess of a journey. This Mars-Chiron trine is not just opening a wound, it's opening a window. A permanent portal into a new way of living, loving, and showing up. And if you're one of the chosen ones, you feel it. That gentle, or not so gentle, nudge from the universe saying, hey, your next mission? It starts right here, in your heart. So enjoy it. Laugh more. Cry when you need to. Trust your gut. Hug your dog. Text your weird friend from college. Eat the damn cake. This life is yours to explore. And hey, if this landed with you, do your sag-fueled generosity a favor, like, share, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot. Because if we are going to grow, heal, and occasionally roast ourselves with humor and honesty, we might as well do it together.